Hi everyone, and welcome to another special combat guide video featuring the Knuckles. I know a lot of people have asked me for this, and I know it has been quite a long time, but here it is. I really needed to force myself to play this weapon, as it is definitely not something I was attracted to. But in the end though, it is definitely not my favorite weapon type, but I understand why people love it. Let's dive right into it. The Knuckles are the latest addition in terms of weapons added into Gauntlets. They were first introduced in the Ouroboros DLC, being the only weapon type added into the game at all. The Knuckles have an incredibly short range, but are also very fast. They reward very evasive and aggressive gameplay and demand a great understanding of enemy AI to be played correctly. They are probably the hardest melee weapon to play in the game, and I would definitely not recommend them for a beginner. That being said, the Knuckles probably allow you to have the highest DPS in the game, drowning your enemies in an endless flurry of blows. Let's have a look at the combos. The basic hit of the Knuckles is actually a chain of 2 fast hits, meaning that the classic 3-hit combo is actually a chain of 6 potential hits in a very short amount of time. 1 basic hit and a special, and 2 basic hits and a special allow you to move forward a lot, which is especially good to follow up on staggered enemies or enemies who roll away from you. The 1 special is actually only 1 hit with quite a bit of reach as you extend your arm a lot. All weapons have charge attacks, but I am featuring here the Knuckle one because it is a small leap and is actually very useful in combat. Having very little reach and fast attacks, the Knuckles are probably the worst weapon when it comes to dealing with a group of enemies. You are rarely able to hit more than 1 enemy at a time, and when outnumbered, your best chance is to try and isolate a target to burst it down with your high DPS. One interesting thing to notice with the Knuckles is that contrary to all other melee weapons, they do not block 100% of the melee damage, only 90%. Blocking is still an incredible tool, but it is definitely not as good of an option as for other melee weapons, forcing you to use spacing and dodging way more than with anything else. When I talk about spacing, I mean that you can still play with your reach a bit. You can start a combo pretty far from an enemy and use your specials to very quickly close the gap. Your 1 special hit also has surprising reach and can allow you to get a quick jab in. Before I leave you with some gameplay, let me quickly talk about the Knuckles' special skill, Prismatic Flurry. This is definitely a weird one. While most special weapon skills are accessible from the start by talking to Burak, doing this with Fist equipped will only give you the Enrage skill that increases your impact damage. In order to get Prismatic Flurry, you need to talk to the Ouroboros Caravaneer and travel to Harmathan for 200 silvers and 2 travel rations. Then you need to talk to the trainer, Mathif, who will teach you the skill for a pure kitten. Getting a pure kitten is not an easy thing in the early game, so I do not consider Prismatic Flurry to be the same as the other weapon skills. In addition to that, Prismatic Flurry inflicts more damage depending on the amount of boons you have on you, and all these skills are all over the map. This definitely makes Prismatic Flurry an endgame tool, so do not count on it early. That aside, Prismatic Flurry is a very powerful skill capable of inflicting a lot of damage. As all the hits proc after the original uppercut, you can still use other skills and attacks while it is damaging your enemy, further increasing your DPS. As all weapons, you can get your hand on Knuckles in the starting city of Cierzo. The first option is to buy Iron Knuckles from the blacksmith, but all players also start with the Cloth Knuckle recipe by default. Okay, let me leave you with some gameplay now. Let's end this video with a quick selection of my favorite knuckles. I feel obligated to mention the porcelain knuckles as they are a very solid choice. They have good enough stats and can inflict the weaken and sap debuffs which greatly reduce your opponent's damage. You can get these at some point during the Antique Plateau Underground quest. Vampiric weapons do not get the love they deserve in my opinion, and so I am happy to feature the Vampiric Knuckles here. I really think these weapons fit the brutality of the fist fight gameplay. I also think that since you have lifesteal on these, it makes blocking more viable as you can compensate for the 10% damage you take. Last weapon I want to feature here is the Virgin Knuckles. These have nothing exceptional on paper, but like all Virgin weapons, they have quite a lot of enchantments which allow you to do this. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you found this guide helpful. I have at least 2 builds for the knuckles and might work on videos for them if you are interested. I only have one more weapon to cover to finish this series, which is the one-handed axe. I'll have to look at offhand weapon and ranges after that, but I'll see what I can do. So stay tuned for more. Do not hesitate to subscribe as it helps me more than you think. Oh, and in case you have not seen it, I have opened a Discord server, so if you want to participate in some of my projects and be aware of what I do, well, feel free to join. I hope to see you again. Bye.